everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. Today at Witch Hollow Homesteading, I'm going to show you how I make sourdough bagels. We're going to begin by adding 250 grams of room temperature filtered water. You're going to want to use active bubbly sourdough starter. Here I fed mine 7 hours ago and it is now ready. I'm adding 113 grams. If you would like to learn how to grow your own sourdough starter, I do have a step-by-step guide to growing sourdough starter on this channel. I like to mix my water and sourdough starter together prior to adding the flour so that there aren't clumps of sourdough starter. I am weighing out 10 grams of pink Himalayan salt that I'm going to put right into the mixing bowl. I'm adding 30 grams of honey into my mixing bowl. My final ingredient is 480 grams of organic, unbleached, all-purpose flour. This recipe will make 8 regular-sized bagels or 6 large bagels. So if you wanted to make more, you could double the recipe. I'm going to place this on my KitchenAid mixer with my dough hook and begin kneading it. If you don't have a mixer that you can do the kneading with, you can just knead by hand. I want to talk about the bagel dough here for a moment. So it is going to be a very stiff dough. It is not going to be super stretchy or wet at all, and it's a relatively dry dough compared to how dough normally is. What I usually have to do is kind of keep an eye on it in my KitchenAid, and I let the dough hook do the work, and then every few minutes I turn it off and I press the bagel dough back down into the bowl so that it can keep kneading. I will end up kneading this bagel dough in the KitchenAid mixer for about 10 minutes. I want to pull the dough out of the mixer and show you the texture that you're looking for with this dough. As you can see, it is very, very stiff, but that's exactly what you want. It's time to now bulk ferment. What I like to do is leave it right in the mixing bowl, and instead of using a towel, I actually have a pan lid that fits perfectly over the bowl. I will cover it with the pan lid, and then I will let it sit out on the counter for anywhere between 12 and 16 hours to let it bulk ferment and raise. While we're in this bulk ferment phase, it doesn't matter if your kitchen's a bit cooler than normal, because it will rise overnight even if your kitchen is 60 degrees like mine is during the night. It's been 14 hours and the dough has risen to be nice and puffy. So we are ready to shape these and let them sit to rise for another 4 to 8 hours. I have my scale and I did lightly flour the surface of my mat. You don't have to lightly flour your surface because if you have one of these mats, the dough shouldn't stick, but I did here just to kind of prevent any sticking. I am sure that many of you out there are so much better at separating dough into 8 or 6 balls and getting them to be equal in size. I, on the other hand, am terrible at that. So what I did here is I put the dough, the one main dough ball, on the scale, weighed it, and then did the math and divided it into 8 to figure out how much each dough ball needed to weigh. That way I'm guaranteeing that each bagel is going to be the same size. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, you can make 6 bagels out of this dough, or you can make 8. It just depends on how big you want your bagels. Here I'm doing 8. However, when I made bagels this week, I actually did 6. and I made 6 very large bagels, and they worked out so great for breakfast sandwiches. With the weighing completed, I'm now going to show you how to turn these into balls. So as you can see here, what I do is I just start tucking all of the sides in and tightening it up right into the center. Then I take the pinched section, place it down on the mat with the smooth side up, and roll it into balls. And you're going to use the tension of the mat in order to make it a complete ball. I'm going to slow this clip down here for you just so that you can see what I'm doing. Once you get into a rhythm, it becomes really easy to do these. We now have 8 balls. What we're going to do is we are going to press them down on the tray. And then you're going to take 2 fingers and press it in the center, and then gently pull and stretch from the middle out, forming the bagel shape. I will show you this in slow motion as well, so that you can get a feel for what I'm doing. With the bagels shaped, we are now ready to let them rise for another 4 to 6 hours. If you are looking to speed up the rise process, you can put them closer to a heat source. Not too much heat because you don't actually want to start cooking them per se, but just a little bit of additional warmth so that they rise a little bit faster. This was a day that was really cold for us. It was down around, I think, the single digits for temperature as a high. So I turned on my little space heater. I put it on the lowest setting and the lowest temperature, placed a hot pad on the top of it, and then put a damp towel over the bagels to let them sit and rise. It's been 5 hours, and the bagels look ready to be boiled and baked. I have a large stock pot here that I have filled with water, and to this stock pot, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of baking soda and 1 tablespoon of organic cane sugar, or you can also add organic brown sugar. Make sure you give the pot a little stir after you've added your baking soda and sugar. I'm going to put the lid on and bring this pot of water to a boil. It's been about 15 minutes and the water is boiling, a nice steady boil. I did lower the temperature a little bit of the burner to medium-high from high. You're going to place 2 bagels in at a time, as you do not want to overcrowd the pan. Whether you made 8 bagels with this recipe or 6, you are still going to boil each side of the bagel for 120 seconds. When the bagels are done, you're going to pull them out with a slotted spatula or spoon and place them on a cookie cooling rack so that the excess water can drip off. And here is when you're going to add any kind of toppings you would like. I am doing sesame seeds on some, cinnamon sugar on a few others, and then plain bagels. I am preheating my oven to 425 degrees, as when we are done boiling them, we are going to bake them. The boiling step of this process has been completed. Now I'm going to place them on my baking sheet and bake these bagels for 20 minutes at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been 20 minutes and the bagels are ready. Thank you so much for joining me at Witch Hollow Homesteading today. I hope you found this video helpful and inspiring. If you have any questions or comments, you can comment below, or you could email me at witchhollowhomesteading@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Witch Hollow Homesteading.